Hey guys, so welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney 2. Let's carry on where we left off. We're up to episode 2, The Memoirs of the Clouded Kokoro. A familiar name, actually. Considering
it was a ghastly tale of a winter's night.
We've dealt with the Clouded Kokoro before.
A killer and a crime perpetrated on the pavement along Briar Road. As the victim lay at death's door, the mystery of just who had stabbed the young lady from behind had been resolved.
I see, after case 4.
But no sooner had my friend saved that Eastern Exchange student from his harrowing plight than in the dim, flickering shadows of gaslight did a second bizarre crime rend the stillness of that very night. I dare say most can still recall the sensational headlines of the day.
So this is like the lost episode of the first game, right?
Death, the condemned criminal's curse, the dread demon of coal gas.
Back when clickbait wasn't a thing, you just had cool
Though
headlines.
the great detective had at once discerned the truth upon his arrival at the scene, it only proved to be the overture that announced the rising of the curtain on a most tragic play.
Oh my god, is this going to involve those two random people that popped up in that case? And then they never showed up again. I was like, what the hell was that? Like, they just showed up out of nowhere and then just disappeared. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a fledgling lawyer, just starting out on my journey. 6 months ago, I arrived as a visiting student of law, having made the long voyage across the sea from the Empire of Japan to here, London, England. And on the way, in quite extraordinary circumstances, I made the acquaintance of a world-famous detective. That we did! Aboard the SS Buria. Currently, I reside in the attic of the detective's own lodgings, from where I run my legal consultancy, of sorts. I've successfully defended a number of clients in Britain's highest court, the Old Bailey. But since a particularly grueling and unforgettable legal battle 4 months ago now, I haven't returned to the courtroom. In truth, I lost my right to return. But that epic trial was just one small part of an epic tale. A tale which was now about to awaken from slumber. Thanks to a letter that arrived this morning from my homeland. Well, I was going to say let's take a peek, but we might eat it instead. Ugh. What a delicious smell wafting up the stairs. It must be nearly time for breakfast. I'd better go down to Mr. Sholmes' suite and say good morning to the great detective and his flatmate, and maybe sneak a bite or two of toast. That's why we're going to say hello, because we're hungry. 30th of August, 7:28 a.m. Sholmes' suite. Admittedly, I can't remember the dates that everything took place in the previous game, but I'm sure we'll work it out and find our place in the timeline soon enough.
Ah, Bruno, good. I was just about to call up to you. The bacon's ready.
Good morning, Iris. It smells delicious, as usual. Before we eat, though, I have some news. I had a surprise this morning. Shh! Not another word, Mr. Naruhodo. God, the man, he's back, he's here! This could be just the abstruse thing for my pre-breakfast stagnation, repelling mental stimulation, my dear fellow. Morning to you too, Mr. Sholmes. That's a lot of big words to use first thing when you wake up. Ah, yes. I see. So that's it. Holy... personal space, man. My bubble. My bubble's being violated. It's pierced. The truth is as clear to me as day. My faculties of observation have revealed it again. What are you talking about? You, Mr. Naruhodo. You have, this very morning, met with a surprise. Well, is that not the case? Well, yeah, you probably delivered the letter to my doorstep, Sholmes. Great deduction. Really, my dear fellow, it barely warrants explanation. Firstly, your hair is particularly unkempt, somewhat reminiscent of a bird's nest. Secondly, you have neglected to fasten the third button of your jacket. Clearly, when considered together, these two facts point to you having been flustered this morning. I mean, I haven't even left the building yet. I don't think I've got any plans to go outside, before breakfast, so forgive me if I'm not entirely ready to go the first thing as soon as I roll out of bed. Can I talk now? Ah, but of course! Though I don't look for admiration, you understand. My hair always looks like this. It's been this way since I first met you. Oh, it has? And the button was ripped off last night, if you remember. By you.
Haley pulled your button off.
Well, geez, accosting me in the middle of the night. Ah, yes, I recall the incident now. It was after supper, was it not? We're not even doing the dance of deduction, I'm already correcting you, Shelves, damn it. As the evening advanced, I picked up my violin and began to play the wailing notes of a haunting tune. But then, to my utter dismay, the third string snapped. Why did it have to happen? Why? Little wonder, then, that in my vexation I grabbed the first button I saw and ripped it from its proper place. Well, I'd like it back now, please. It's troubling me that I can't fasten my jacket. And it's troubling me that you expect me to know where it is. Somewhere thereabouts on the floor, one presumes. Helpful? I have to say, I really love the dynamic between Ryunosuke and Shobes. Love the music too, it's Shobes' theme basically. Oh god, I miss this guy so much. What matters at the present time, my dear fellow, is simply whether or not my deduction was unerring.
But Haley, Reno said it when he came in, didn't he?
So yeah, your deduction's not entirely wrong, but that's because I literally spoon-fed it to you.
I had a surprise this morning.
Well, I didn't hear that part. Well, that really is a surprise. Fantastic. Yes, this man is the pride of the British Empire. The famous consulting detective, Mr. Sherlock Sholmes. Gotta say, this is how every day starts. Imagine this is how you start your day every damn day. There can't be a single person in the world who doesn't know his name. Probably because he blathers it so many times and his stories are popular too.
Alright then, enough of this silly conversation. Come and eat this bacon before it goes cold. And I have a new herbal tea for you to try too. My latest special blend.
And here we have Iris Wilson, Mr. Sholmes' lodger and companion. A truly exceptional young girl, who's the author of a highly successful serialization here in London. Yes, The Adventures of Sherlock Sholmes, as published in Rant's magazine. So, Mr. Naruhodo, won't you put us out of our misery? What surprised you this fine morning? Oh, well, thank you for putting me out of my misery by letting me talk. Well, I received a letter from Japan.
Oh, from Susie you mean? Was it? Really?
That's right. And she had some rather startling news, in fact. Ah, intriguing indeed. You must tell us all about it over breakfast.
Oh yes, what fun!
What fun indeed. But first, let's reacquaint ourselves with Sholmes' suite. Plenty to examine, I'm sure. When it gets to this time of year, Londoners seem to leave their hearths alight all day long, and I love it. There's something very relaxing about watching the flames flit and dance about. But a fireplace in days of summertime is a waste of space. Really, no use at all.
Rather like a great detective in days of no crimes and no criminals, Verily?
But consider this. Instead of a fireplace, a frost place. That's my latest idea. It's called a window, Sholmes. We should have multiple, unless we're paying that window tax. An extraordinary hearth from which emanates a cool breeze in the hot summer months. What do you think? Well, I suppose he's talking about an air conditioning unit as well. I think if you invented such a thing, your name would go down in history. The principle is extremely simple. One must, of course, light a cold fire in the hearth. Yes, of course. Brilliant. The trouble is, none of the fires I build ever burn cold. How it taunts me. So as you British say, it's a bit of a damp squib. That it is. Unfortunately, I don't remember who exactly invented the air conditioner. So maybe they didn't go down in history as well as they should have. Or maybe I'm just ignorant. These are different pieces of evidence from cases you've solved, aren't they, Mr. Sholmes? Not quite, Mr. Naruhodo, not quite. These trinkets are a selection from cases I've solved with particular aplomb. They are souvenirs of my success. Memories, Mr. Naruhodo, memories. Really? So, tell me about the case in which the bust of Napoleon featured. I forget, but there is a case far in the distant future that involves a bust, and practically that case was a bust too, according to most of the fandom. Memories, he says. Wonderful, Mr. Sholmes, wonderful. God. You can just tell Ryunosuke is like so irked by Sholmes, and yet they just have a great partnership when it comes to solving cases. Books, papers, scientific implements. These shelves are stuffed to the gunnels. Miss Susato wouldn't be able to help herself if she were here. She can't stand mess.
Susie might not be able to stand mess, but she wouldn't dare touch those shelves.
Oh? Why not?
Everything's in intricate balance. Hurley spends ages on it. If you were to touch even one thing, the whole lot would come tumbling down.
Careful, don't breathe too harshly. You might knock it all over.
Susie noticed it was a very delicate arrangement right from the outset.
Make it sound like a meeting of great minds. The truth is, Mr. Sholmes just needs to tidy up. Yeah, I have to do it, so why can't he? Yes, the huge metal chest with the lace cloth laid on it, being used as a table for tea and coffee. It's very sturdy, that's for sure, and firmly locked shut.
That chest contains my father's detailed records of Hurley's many cases.
Yes, so I've been led to believe. Though personally, I've never actually seen inside. For all I know, there's a corpse in there.
And that's the way it will stay. Those papers are a secret between Daddy and me. If you go opening it uninvited, you might find yourself being bitten.
What? Is there a beast inside there or something? No. Miss Wilson is the beast. Over to the left, what do we have? This fancy contraption? That machine really is imposing, isn't it? I can never remember its name.
Hurley calls it his great analytoscope. It can analyze anything at all.
That doesn't really help me. What does analyzing something even mean? You forget I'm from Japan. An extremely astute question, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry? Well, as Iris said, my machine here spits out analysis results of anything with which you will care to present it. But how to interpret those results, that's the key. And I confess I have no idea. Clearly, I'm going to have to construct a great analytoscope to solve the problem. That might not help, believe it or not. Yes, Mr. Sholmes' faithful musical companion. Wasn't this violin made by somebody famous?
Yes, it's a Stradivarius. Though I'm afraid you'd have to save up for 100 years before you could afford one, Rune.
But didn't you buy it for a song, Mr. Sholmes? I found it at a pawnbrokery among the forfeited articles. Clearly said Stradivarius on the label. What? The ignorant broker had no idea of its true value, you see. So I paid a mere 55 shillings for it. Yes, I have something of a turn for shopping. Sherlock Sholmes, bargain hunter, and also ripper-offer man. But is it really a Stradivarius then? But of course, my dear fellow. It said so on the label. Oh, I think perhaps the ignorant broker had something of a turn for selling. Oh, I'm so dumb. What is this Stradivarius? Oh, I don't know. Just take it for this many shilling. Even though I just slapped the label on it. And over on this side, typewriter.
I can type with my eyes shut, you know.
I can believe it. When a deadline's approaching, you sound like a Gatling gun.
You mean my typing, right? Not me myself, because that's quite rude. That reminds me of a dream I had the other day. It was such a funny one, it woke me actually. I was typing for a whole hour in the pitch black, but I didn't make a single mistake.
That's incredible.
But then, when it got light, I found that there wasn't any paper in the machine.
Oh god, it's like me when I start recording and realize I didn't actually start recording. I've been talking to a microphone for no reason. Or when I started recording and the microphone's muted. That's even worse.
I wonder if I'd actually been typing at all.
I think you might just have fallen asleep on the job. There are so many different bottles up there on that charming little set of white shelves.
Oh, do be careful, Rune. You mustn't try the contents of any of those bottles, even if you're hungry.
I am pretty hungry right now, but I wouldn't do something stupid like that. I'm not a child, you know.
Well, I wish I could say the same for Hurley. The other day, he polished off a full bottle of one of my alkaloids.
He what?
He said he was hungry.
I'll be extra careful. I don't want to get his germs, because he probably didn't even clean the bottle. Yes, this is where you note down ideas, isn't it, Iris? What's in the melting pot today? The blue carbuncle?
Yes, it's from a case of theft that Hurley solved ages ago. The theft of a precious stone. A carbuncle is another name for a garnet, you see, especially if it's cut with a rounded top.
Oh, really? And this garnet was blue, was it?
Well, that's the thing. They're usually red. No blue garnets have ever been discovered.
Oh.
So who knows what the stolen gemstone actually was? That's the real mystery of the case.
A proper Herlock Sholmes conundrum, huh? Proper indeed. Alright, just a tea cart left, I presume? I look forward to finding out what aroma your tea will have, Iris. Every single day.
Ah, well, I infuse a different concoction of herbs from the garden every time, so it's never the same twice.
When you call it a concoction, it sounds more like a science experiment than something for tea time.
Oh yes, that's because different blends can have very different properties. Sure, Hurley and I always have the same tea, but you, on the other hand, I experiment with you, Ryunosuke. Some calm you down, some make you feel jolly, some give you energy. Today's particular blend is something quite special, Runo, so you're really in for a treat.
That sounds ominous. Alright, yes, that is everything. Can we move anywhere? We can go back to the legal consultancy if we want to.
It's so quiet up in this attic without Susie around, isn't it?
It certainly is pretty lonely. Should I present my armband? Whoops. Oh man, I remember making that mistake in the first game too. R to present. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, about this. Shh, not another word. Ah, yes, I see. This would be a collar for a breed of miniature canine with a particularly long neck, and for witty use. Actually, it's the armband I always wear that symbolizes my role as a defense lawyer. Precisely. Which leads us to but one conclusion. Your arm is, in fact, the particularly long neck of a miniature canine. I'm starting to wish I'd never shown him this now. And it's barking mad. Oh, God. Alright. Sholmes, let's talk about Miss Susato's letter. This is the letter that arrived from Japan this morning, by international post.
Oh, how lovely. Look at Susie's beautiful writing. I wish I could read it.
And how is your judicial assistant faring, may I ask? She's very well, thank you. In fact, according to what she's written, she actually appeared as a lawyer at the Japanese Supreme Court and won a case.
Ah, really? Oh, isn't she wonderful?
A cut above your good self, my dear fellow. I've won cases too, you know. More than one. And I didn't have to dress up to do it, although it's a pretty sad fact that Susato even had to disguise herself to begin with. Apparently, Mr. Natsume appeared in the trial as a witness. Natsume. No, I don't recall that name. Oh my god. Sholmes is basically M. Bison for Natsume. Natsume's like, oh, my old nemesis, Sherlock Sholmes. And Sholmes is like, I have no idea who you are. For me, it was Tuesday, buddy. Of course you do. We helped the man. Twice. You know, in those 2 cases that took place on Briar Road 6 months ago. Ah, the moustache twitchy man with the somewhat feline eyes and the moustache. Yes, that's double the moustache.
You didn't have 2 moustaches, Hurley.
Yes, who could forget those 2 cases? They made a very deep impression on me. I guess we're gonna flash back, although I must confess the details are a little hazy now. Very deep impression they made on you, clearly. Startling news. So, what was this startling news penned by Miss Susato? Do you remember the case of the haunted lodgings, Mr. Sholmes? Ah, yes, it's very interesting, you know. I don't feel entirely uncertain that a case of that nature did not occur. He's totally forgotten then. God, where would he be without his biographer? Anyway, in her letter, Miss Susato asked that we read over her case notes again and investigate further. Though it took place half a year ago. For what purpose? Because of something that Mr. Natsume said to her, apparently. He suggested that the real reason why she was called back to Japan so suddenly might have something to do with that case of the haunted lodgings. Oh? On Mr. Natsume's return to Japan, Miss Susato's father questioned him about the case, she says. And something Mr. Natsume said appeared to trouble Professor Mikatoba, prompting him to send that telegram.
Oh, that case, yes! It was very strange, wasn't it?
Yes. So much so that we need a chapter dedicated to it.
And I'd compiled the whole story into a nice, neat manuscript ready for publication, too. But then Hurley here was all funny about it, remember? He was very mean. That story must not be published, she said, very mysteriously as well.
Really? I said that. Are you sure? You perhaps know something about it as well, Mr. Sholmes? About why Miss Susato was suddenly told 4 months ago that she had to return to Japan? Miss Susato's repatriation. Or repatriation.
It's been 4 months now since we waved Susie off at Dover. It was such a shock, wasn't it? The way she just suddenly announced that she had to go back to Japan.
Well, I hope she just suddenly has to return here. Indeed it was, due to a telegram she received from her homeland, I believe. In this previously on Greatest Attorney segment that we're doing right now. That's right, telling her to return urgently. Yes, because her father had passed away. No, he was just terminally ill, I believe it was. No. It just said he was suffering from a high fever, the cause of which was unknown. He's not dead. But according to this letter, it was all fine and dandy. That news about her father's fever was just a ruse.
A ruse? So Susie's daddy lied to her so that she'd make the voyage back home. Why would he do that?
I have to admit, I have absolutely no idea. But she believes it's almost certainly related to the case of the haunted lodgings. Well, it does sound like an interesting case. It's piqued my interest. Summoning her back to Japan so suddenly like that. I wonder what Miss Susato's father is hiding.
Ellie, do you know what it's all about?
Of course he does. Oh, alright. He's ready to go. I still need my button back, mister. Ah, well, who could say? What? But you said... Please, I have engagements, my dear fellow. My calendar is quite surprisingly full today all of a sudden. An astringent analysis of the matter would be excessive, I feel. Even if I were quite at leisure. So, man the fort in my absence, would you, Iris?
I will, Hurley. Don't worry. See you later.
This is his actual theme, but I do like the other one as well. He scuttled off rather quickly there. Kind of like he was hopping along down the stairs out the door. I think perhaps Professor Mikatoba isn't the only person hiding something here. Soseki-san was involved in 2 cases, but only one of them was forbidden from being published, hence why it's only in this game now. By, of all people, Mr. Sholmes.
Aha! I found them at last.
Iris, are they...
The notes about the case? That's right. Susie and I compiled them together. The case of the haunted lodgings. Do you want to read them, Runo?
Well, at least it didn't end up in the fireplace. Absolutely. Thank you, Iris. I have no idea what secrets could still be hiding in the shadows of this case. But perhaps if I read over the notes again, something might come to light.
That's the spirit.
Okay. Here we go. Memoirs of the Clouded Kokoro. And so, Iris and I decided to read over the case notes again together. Everything from what happened to our investigation and that fierce battle in court that followed. Reliving every detail. I just need to find a clue. And I have all the time in the world. Because, of course, I'm no longer allowed to practice law in the courts of Great Britain. God damn it. What on earth happened? Got disbarred? Why am I still here? I should have shipped back off to Japan. It was 6 months ago. A mysterious incident that unfolded on the wintry streets of London. A young woman was found lying on the snowy pavement of Briar Road with a knife in her back. Fortunately, her life was spared, but she was unconscious for several days following the incident. All thanks to a freaking domestic issue where a knife flies out the window. Goodness me. At least there was no murder, at least she survived. The fog was thick and nobody saw her attack her, but by a cruel twist of fate, a visiting Japanese student was walking behind her at the time and was duly arrested. That man was Soseki-san, and the man who effected his arrest was Mr. Sholmes. Believing in our compatriot's innocence, Susato-san and I decided to represent Soseki-san in court. And after a grueling trial of many twists and turns, we finally managed to prove his innocence. And we saved him from the Reaper of the Old Bailey. Joyful, joyous, jubilant jubilation! Was the man's reaction after the trial. But his jubilant jubilation was short-lived. For he got arrested again the next day. We received a telegram from Mr. Sholmes the following morning. The victim of the Briar Road stabbing has regained consciousness. Hurry to Bart's at once. So Susato-san and I summoned a hansom and headed immediately to the hospital. And this is where we pick up. Oh look, the victim has a sort of model of herself on the tape. The Michelin Man. I'm sorry, that was terribly mean. 21st of February, 5:30 a.m. St. Bartholomew's Hospital Recovery Ward. Pretty bright for 5:30 in the morning. In a winter. There you are at last. Good morning, Mr. Sholmes. I think not.
Hey,
You're late. What on earth took you so long? Sleep.
your telegram only arrived at 5 o'clock, Mr. Sholmes, and it's a 20-minute ride to the hospital.
That's right, and it's 5:30 now. I think we made very good time. The time is utterly irrelevant. The fact is I have been waiting for what has felt like an eternity. That's like the third sign Ryunosuke's had to do thanks to Sholmes. In point of fact, I myself was awoken at 4 this morning by a telegram boy. And feeling it was somewhat unjust that I alone had been roused at such an hour, I sent one to you. Well, thanks for that. Sheesh, making me suffer with you. Anyway, you're here now, so the victim is over there. She only just regained consciousness. Hello. You should introduce yourselves, and I shall observe from here. Okay, don't watch too hard. So that's the lady who was found on the snow-covered pavement with a knife in her back.
Her name is... Oh yes, here we are. Miss Green.
Makes sense. Well, what else have we got in here? We've got her pet rat.
Eek! A mouse, Mr. Naruhodo! An enormous mouse!
Vermin in a hospital? That doesn't seem the best.
But it looks like a very healthy specimen, doesn't it? It's very plump.
I'm not sure we can say that's down to the excellence of this facility, if that's what you were thinking. I don't think we can have it for breakfast either.
That must be a bag of Miss Green's personal belongings.
She would have been brought directly here after she was found stabbed on the pavement, though. Someone must have dropped it off, yeah.
I expect a friend or family member probably bought some things for her.
Alright then, let's see what's inside. Change of clothes, no doubt, and...
No, Mr. Naruhodo, you must never scrutinize a young maiden's personal belongings.
Oh man, I'm about to get Susato takedown in the hospital. At least I don't have to travel far to recover. But the young maiden might have chocolates, or biscuits, or caramel. That doesn't give you the right, Ryunosuke. Up here, we've got... There are a lot of bottles in that cabinet, aren't there? You think it's safe to keep them like that?
If you were a patient here, I feel sure you'd take some medicine by mistake when you were half asleep.
That is a worry. But at least the cabinet has a lock, even if it's only a flimsy-looking one. As long as the sun doesn't shine in.
Oh, I've no doubt you'd manage to unlock that somehow while you were half asleep as well.
There are limits even to what I can do when I'm half asleep, you know, Mrs. Sato. I'm afraid. Your chart? Ah, this looks like the patient's treatment notes. Let's see. Do not feed. Well, jeez, okay. What is this place, a zoo?
You know, I seem to remember seeing an almost identical sign on our local park.
For the pigeons, yes. This is a person. Poor woman. Hope she hasn't read this. Aw, she does look adorable, doesn't she? What is this? This rounded wooden figure isn't the most charming, is it?
Oh, I don't think that's a decoration, Mr. Naruhodo. It's an artist's mannequin, I believe. Used when practicing sketching the human form in different poses.
Oh, is it? I've heard of those. Really? It's not exactly what you'd call a typical figure for that purpose, though, is it?
No, I suppose not. I confess I've never seen one quite so full-figured before.
Neither. Well, if you want to draw a full-figured person, it's the right tool for the job. Look, there's a silhouette in this photograph in this frame here. Oh, there we go. We can zoom in.
Oh yes, it's a picture of a young gentleman.
Looks to be about the same age as Miss Green, I would say. Perhaps the young woman's special someone, do you think?
Why, Mr. Naruhodo, I didn't know you had such sense for matters of the heart.
Not in the least. I sincerely said the first thing I thought of. An easels here too. Alright. Well, we can look around a little bit more. We can travel very far. Over here, this looks like the treatment notes for whoever's occupying this bed. Let's see. Do not permit to run around the hospital. Is it just that? Just one sentence, same as the other one?
The patient doesn't seem to be here at the moment, so...
Well, I hope the patient's walking around. He or she is probably running around the hospital then.
Oh dear, how worrying.
What's worrying is why they haven't discharged the patient yet. Man, instead of putting the notes on the bed, they should probably staple it to the patient's back. There are all sorts of medicines in this cabinet. Look, I'm not sure if it's safe leaving them in reach of everyone like this.
Yes, you're right. I can imagine if you were peckish, you might try a whole bottle or two.
Well, at least there seems to be a little lock to secure the cabinet doors.
I don't imagine that would stop you if you were hungry. I worry that you'd break the lock.
Hunger doesn't turn me into a criminal, you know, Miss Susato. Just a famished beast. That's everything apart from the woman herself. Let's examine her. Good morning. Hello. I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo from the Empire of Japan.
Oh no, was it your knife that... Are you the man who...
No, I'm a lawyer. We don't stab people in the back with a literal knife, we just do it with words.
And I'm Susato Mikatoba, pleased to meet you. Oh no, was it your knife then? Are you the one? No, I assure you, I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant. We heard that you'd regained consciousness and wanted to come to give you our best wishes.
You know, as we do whenever we hear about someone who's unconscious regaining it.
Best wishes? For me? Thank you. I'm Olive Green. I'm an artist. Well, no, that's not right, is it? What I mean is, I'm trying to be an artist. Well, what I really mean is, I desperately want to be an artist.
Okay. Well, having paintbrushes in your pocket isn't gonna quite do the trick.
But the truth is, I don't have any talent. I know I don't. It's no wonder I was stabbed in the back.
I don't think that's related, actually. You can be shit at something and not get stabbed in the back.
Gosh, this young woman seems to bend over backwards to put herself down.
Seeing as we're here, we should ask her about what happened from her perspective, I suppose. About the incident. To suddenly be struck in the back by a blade as you were walking along the pavement. What a terrible experience you had, Miss Green. I'm so sorry.
It was so cold that day, and the fog was so thick, I couldn't see a thing. That was 4 days ago now, I think. Is that right? Yes, that's right. I'm afraid you've been comatose all that time. But the case has been solved, hasn't it? While I've been here in the hospital, I mean.
Indeed it has, my dear madam. Spectacularly, by none other than I, Herlock Sholmes.
Mr. Sholmes! As you well know, it was Mr. Naruhodo's hard work in court that solved the case.
Whoa, damn. Susato got my back. I love it. Now that's a judicial assistant right there. Are you yet to hear what happened, Miss Green?
Yes, I'm afraid so. A gentleman from the police force is supposed to be coming to fill me in shortly. Oh, I see. Me coming round seems to have made everyone frantically busy. I'm so sorry. I should never have regained consciousness. It was selfish of me.
Oh no, Miss Green, please.
Oh no. We're also relieved that you're on the mend, Miss Green. Really, we are.
With that kind of attitude, maybe your surname should be Blue, not Green. Clever. Don't mess with the puns, Ryunosuke. About yourself. So, you're an artist, are you, Miss Green?
Oh no, I couldn't possibly claim that. I'm a fledgling artist at best. I mean, I'm a student of art, really, at the Thorndike Academy of Fine Arts. Oh my, an Academy of Fine Arts? Great Britain is such a wonderful country.
Tell me, Miss Green, do you live hereabouts?
Oh no, actually. I don't deserve it, but I have a little flat on Brixton Road.
I see. How very interesting.
Oh no, is it?
Brixton is some 10 stops away on the underground from here, and Thorndyke Academy is a mere 3-minute walk from Brixton Town Centre. Does that matter, Mr. Sholmes? Perhaps not, but Briar Road is a far less salubrious part of town by comparison, dwelt in by those of inferior means, including the maleficent Mr. Moustache times 2. Inferior means? I suppose Soseki-san does fit the bill, pun intended. It struck me as somewhat out of the ordinary for a young fine arts student to be walking in such a district. That's all.
Oh, well, if it disappoints you that much, I'll just rewind time and not walk along that bloody road and get stabbed in the back, shall I?
What's this? She suddenly clammed up.
Mr. Sholmes, you should be ashamed of yourself prying into a young maiden's private affairs.
Oh, dear me. Do forgive me.
If you don't mind. I'm being discharged shortly, so I need to pack up my things.
Oh, yeah, of course. We won't keep you. Thank you so much, Miss Green.
You're welcome.
Never mind, she's not packing. Is there Mr. Narrow Fodder here? Mr. Narrow Fodder? Narrow Fodder now? Well, if you're looking for Mr. Naruhodo, the lawyer, that's me, but imagine if there was a Narrow Fodder just around the corner going, hey, that's me. Oh, Mr. Narrow Fodder, good. This is for you. It's a message from Mr. Saucy Nutmeg. Mr. Natsume sent the message to me.
But why would a policeman be delivering a message from Mr. Natsume?
Exactly. What's going on? He's in prison again. What's a Scotland Yard constable doing playing delivery boy at this time in the morning? Ah, what are you waiting for? Let me see that. Oh, it was addressed to me, you rude prick. Give it back. Well, this is most unexpected. There's something wrong, Mr. Sholmes. Don't tell me that Miss Green is going to become my defendant. There's something wrong, Mr. Sholmes, he says. Have you not seen this note? No, how could I have? You frickin' snatched it out of my hands. It would seem that London's criminals have no intention of letting the great detective rest. They should. You could really use a break. And I could use a break from you, Sholmes. I'm speaking in character. I love Sholmes. Don't worry. Don't hate me. A new case calls. A case of murder, no less. We must depart at once.
Murder?
Call a cab. Time is of the essence. But the trouble is, we've yet to read Mr. Natsume's note. I was thinking we ought to pay him a visit in his lodgings once we did. That will be entirely convenient.
Convenient? What do you mean?
It's all here in the note, my dear fellows. The murder we must investigate took place at Mr. Moustache's lodgings, not longings, or his leggings. Wait, what?
I'll hail a fiacre at once.
Alright, we're on the move. It was only yesterday that Soseki-san was in court and we were dispelling doubts about his innocence. And now, the very next day, there's a murder at the man's own address. He may very well be the unluckiest man alive. Or so it seemed to us at the time, but we were soon to discover it was worse than we thought. Uh-oh. What are we going to discover here? 21st of February, 7:18 a.m. Mr. Natsume's lodgings. Ground floor. Oh my god. Yes, he looks familiar. What on earth?
Oh my, the gentleman is deceased, without question. He's dead.
Locum student Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire. Mr. Natsume.
Oh, why? Why is this happening? Why to me? I've only just gotten out of court yesterday. I was finally home after 2 days of misery.
Oh my god, poor dude.
And then I wake up the next day to this. No early man should catch the worm like this. Woeful worm without wiggle.
I see you're in high spirits again this morning, Mr. Moustache.
Ah! Not the horrible hair lock shows. Not again. This morning can't get any worse. Shove off. Show yourself the door. I never invited you. Mr. Sholmes came here with us. I'm quite sure he'll be able to help you, Mr. Natsume.
I'm entirely at your disposal, Miss Massage. What can I do for you?
You can fuck off. Good.
And Guregusan. Here they are, already. Busybodies. Ah, Inspector Gregson. What a pleasant surprise. Pleasant, is it? Gives me a heartburn every time I see your face at a crime scene, Sherms. I deduce, Inspector, that your heartburn is a result of your excessive consumption of fried food. Good morning, Inspector. This is a crime scene. Don't you go touching anything. Well, good morning to you too, sunshine. Okay, what on earth are we dealing with here? We got the investigation music playing. Certainly, it's time to investigate.